They ask for help. No time, no size, no clear responsibility. Just, "Can you help me with something later?" You feel the pause, that tiny space where you should ask, "What does it involve?" But the pause feels uncomfortable, so you nod. "Yeah, sure." And before they explain anything, they already have your agreement. Later, the something gets bigger. More time, more effort, more responsibility than it sounded. And now the hard part is this. You already said yes. That is where the price changes, not when they ask. When you answer before the request has shape. Because once your yes comes first, they do not have to bring clarity first. They can bring the details later. They can name the inconvenience later. They can stretch the responsibility after access is already open. And next time, the request comes even softer, even vaguer, even easier to say yes to, because they learned the order. Agreement first, cost later. The first mistake is not the yes, it is the skipped pause before the yes. That tiny moment where your body knows something is missing. No time, no size, no real explanation. But instead of letting that missing information matter, you rush past it. You feel the social pressure. You do not want to make the moment heavy. You do not want to sound suspicious. You do not want to treat a casual request like a contract. So you make yourself easy. You nod quickly. You say yes with a relaxed tone. You act like clarity would be too much. But that is the moment your judgment gets bypassed. You are not agreeing to the task. You are agreeing to an empty shape. And once you agree to an empty shape, someone else gets to fill it later. That is the danger. The request sounded small because it was unfinished. It felt harmless because the cost was hidden. And you called it kindness because the moment felt awkward. But a pause is not unkind. A pause is where your judgment returns. Other people read that speed. They may not think, "I can use this person." They may not plan anything dramatic. But they notice the pattern. They ask vaguely. You answer clearly. They bring no details. You bring commitment. They give you a shadow. You give them a yes. And quietly, the standard changes. Next time, they do not explain more. They explain less, because they learned that details are not required to get access to you. They can say, "Can you help me later?" They can say, "I need a small favor." They can say, "Are you free for a bit?" And if your answer keeps arriving before their explanation does, they learn the shortcut. Get the agreement first. Reveal the weight later. This is how availability becomes cheap. Not because you have no value, but because you keep letting people reserve your time without showing the price. And the strange part is, you may even feel proud of it at first. You are helpful. You are flexible. You are the easy one. Until easy becomes expected. Until flexible becomes automatic. Until helpful becomes the person everyone asks last minute with the least explanation. This is why the title is true. You said yes before they named the cost. So now the cost can be named after your yes. That order matters more than most people realize. Before you agree, questions sound normal. What does it involve? How long will it take? When do you need it? What exactly are you asking me to do? Those are not rude questions. Those are the basic conditions of a clear decision. But after you agree, the same questions feel different. Now they sound like hesitation. Now they sound like you are backing out. Now they sound like you are adding conditions after giving your word. That is the trap. Your fast yes makes normal clarity feel like conflict. So when the task becomes bigger, you are no longer just deciding. You are repairing. You have to explain why you cannot do that much. You have to soften your limit. You have to manage their disappointment. You have to say, "Oh, I didn't realize." And that sentence already puts you behind, because now you look like the one changing the agreement, even though there was no real agreement. There was only a vague request, and your nod filled in the blanks. A vague request is not harmless when your yes arrives first. It becomes a blank check with your name on it. You keep doing this because the pause feels expensive. That is the real pressure, not the task. The pause, the tiny silence after they ask, the look on their face, the feeling that asking one question might make you seem difficult. So you choose the faster relief. You say yes, and for a moment, everything feels smooth. They feel helped. You feel decent. No tension, no awkwardness, no need to look careful. But later, the hidden cost arrives, and the smooth moment becomes resentment. You are annoyed, but you agreed. You are tired, but you agreed. You feel boxed in, but you remember the nod. That is where self-respect gets quiet. Not because someone forced you, because you abandoned your own question to keep the room comfortable. The correction is simple, but it has to be visible. Do not answer the request until the request has a shape. When someone says, "Can you help me with something later?" Pause. Let the pause exist. Then ask, "What does it involve?" And stop there. Do not add a nervous smile. Do not say, "I probably can." Do not give them a soft yes before the details arrive. If they say, "It won't take long," ask, "How much time are we talking about?" If they say, "It's just a small thing," ask, "What exactly do you need me to do?" This is not cold. This is clean. A clear request deserves a clear answer. A vague request deserves a clarifying question. And once the cost is visible, you can choose without resentment. "Yes, I can help with that." "No, I cannot take that on." "I can do 20 minutes, but not more." Now your yes means something, because it came after judgment. You do not need to make your time easy to access just to prove you are kind. Kindness without clarity becomes a doorway people stop knocking on. So the next time someone asks vaguely, notice the urge to nod. Notice the discomfort. Notice the silence trying to rush you. Then let one question stand between your time and their request. What does it involve? Say that before you say yes, because your agreement should never arrive before your judgment, and your value becomes visible the moment your yes stops being automatic.